All right, guys, it is Saturday, exactly 4 o'clock. We are all the way live on Facebook on the Champion of Truth Kindle's Facebook page. And I have the pleasure of being sitting down with Dr. Sijo Baldwin. He's just recently had the mass production of his new book that's going to be out and available to everybody, I believe, on this Tuesday, right?
Yes.
So if you haven't already done so, we're going to definitely provide information so that you can purchase your books. But again, as I said, it does give me great honor to interview him. He is an author of, so many other books that are already out there that I'm sure you all have never heard of. But he has produced several books, so he's not new to this. And I just wanted to be able to shed some light on this current book that he has just recently put out. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. I'm doing great.
That's good.
You know? All
right.
Excited. Ready to start some controversy, some good reading, and some great comparisons. It's on and popping.
All right. Well, let's just get right to it. I noticed you had selected a few individuals that you wanted to allow to preview the book. What was your strategy, or what was the purpose for doing that?
The purpose was to get some feedback from people that I could trust, that would be non-partial, to give me some feedback, some of the things they liked, some of the things they didn't like. I did make a few changes, not very many. I did make some changes on the cover, but I took a portion of the book and there was a part in the middle that was better in the back. So that was important to get that feedback from somebody say, I like this, but you should save this surprise toward the end that was in the middle. So, it was just a good strategy, a great thing to do.
Well, I personally have seen and reviewed the book. I'm telling you guys, it's definitely worth every dime that you spend. I almost want to refer to it as a textbook that that talks about the dog game. But this book is everything you need it to be, and then so much more. You actually decided to co-author with this particular book. What was the reason for doing that?
Okay, here goes. In my lifetime, I've seen people jammed up for what they say. Even though, the Fifth Amendment, this is the First Amendment, actually, that's supposed to give us freedom of speech, freedom of press, and things of that nature. But I've seen some people jammed up in this game by saying the wrong thing to the wrong people. With that being said, I have a mentor. I have mentors, but I have a primary mentor. And I didn't want to do any project like this without his input. So, and discussing it with him, he's old, retired, undercover, can't be found. And so he was like, I'm going to say the shit I want to say. If you cool with that? I'm like, I'm cool with that. Because I can't say what the fuck I want to say. But you do your shit and I'll be cool. So what happens, you have two personalities. One who's me, who's trying to be as conservative as possible without saying anything to make certain people turn against me. I'll say it like that. And I have a person who don't give a fuck, who speaking his mind, who's kicking it the way it's supposed to be kicked. So it brings a good balance to the book because you have me trying to be conservative and you have a person who don't give a fuck. We call him, he's not a Democrat, Republican. He's I don't give a shit, so it makes it real interesting.
Well, I know exactly where he's at in this book.
Exactly. Well, and I don't give a fuck page.
Well, when you guys get to that part, make sure you highlight it. You know exactly who that is. Right. So do you feel you actually represented the game well when writing this book?
Okay. Because of the details of the book. Because how the game is and how people are and what I think is good reading, I think that we represent the book well because of the experience that we have in terms of two people being in the game. Let me see. I started in 75, but I was introduced in 68 to the breed. I purchased my first in 75. I think he has a couple more years over me. So you put that together with two people, you know, that's a good length of time, you know, to be consistent in the game and to steady grow. So yeah. And
reading this book, you're going to definitely run across different people. Some people like to read a lot. Some people don't choose to read very much. So do you think that this particular book will kind of cover across the board and just kind of engage a lot of people, no matter what their preference is when it comes to reading?
Okay. I own a lot of books, and, you know, some of them I don't read anymore. I think this will be one that people will go over.
Okay.
They would read it over. They're going to reference certain things. They're going to share certain stories that are true. But they're fictitious from my point of view, but from my co-author, they're true. I don't know, but it's true from him, and it's fake from me. So y'all know what to do, you know.
Sounds like a lot of entertainment.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And does this book kind of basically gear towards more information, or does it basically gear towards more like the show information that people might want to hear about in this book?
Okay, let me tell you. It's an action book.
Okay.
You know, besides the nice pictures of some nice dogs that people have never seen before, besides the information of some great people that people don't know about, besides some great dogs that people don't know about that have done some great things, it's an action book. It's like, it's action. God damn it, it's action. That's all. It's an action book. I mean, once you get into it, you know, we start a little bit tiptoeing for the first maybe 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pages, you know, try to be nice, but then it just cuts loose. That's all, you know. My co-author, he cuts loose. Now, I let him have the flow.
You let him loose.
I cut his ass loose because he was hollering, yak, yak, yak. Let me go. I'm like, okay, well, shit, go, man.
You're going to hype up my dog.
I know, right?
And I think it'll basically, just in kind of the snippets that I've read of it, for people who are in the dog game, they'll definitely be able to recognize some key things in here. And then it'll also kind of engage people who are not as into it and maybe, you know, get some more education as it relates to the dog game. So my question to you then is, has the game changed very much?
Oh man, I could write a book on how the game has changed.
Okay.
Let me say it like this. When I started in the game, it was a good community. I mean, you know, you had people who disagreed. You had the little personal hating, but it wasn't detrimental. It wasn't like, I don't like you and I'm going to steal your dog. I don't like, you know, it wasn't like, I don't like you or I'm going to kill your dog or do something to you. It was like, I don't like you, and the first chance I get to prove to you, you know, in the box, I'll go handle it. So, with that being said, it was good communities where people brought in some very well-bred dogs, and people were showing them and doing their best, and breeders start back in the day trying to perfect their own thing, me being one of them, because I didn't want to base my dogs on legends that I don't know anything about. I based my dogs on legends that I could see, you know. And so in the beginning, when I started, I would say the game was 70% white and 30% black. And right now, it is, in my opinion, 70% black and 30% white. So you've had a major flip since 1975.
Wow.
You know, it's been a major flip. And yeah, the game changes because you have a different mindset. Let me just say this. A lot of the guys back in the day were rural guys, country bumpkins that were into the dogs. They had a different way of doing things. And now you got city bumpkins that are in the game, and it's definitely different on how they do things.
Wow.
You know, so yeah, the game has changed, and I want to say this. I know for a fact that there are a lot of guys that didn't like guys, white guys that didn't like white guys, but the way they handle their business is different than how black guys who don't like black guys. I'm telling you, I know Andre Guru did not like Pat Patrick. He didn't like Bobby Hall. Patrick didn't like Sorrel. Sorrels couldn't stand Patrick. And there were a lot of different people who didn't particularly care for another man's dogs, but still there was a certain level of respect given that's not done today. And I don't want to go just all into it, but yeah, the game has changed.
Wow. And I know in order for you to have the knowledge base that you have that's inside this book, you've definitely read quite a few books. So of which of the books that you've read that you have in your library do you like most and why?
Man, here goes. I got a nice number of books and a whole lot of magazines and things of that nature that I've read. One of the key books that maybe once every year, I just kind of glance through it and review it because I like the way it was written. It's the original John P. Colby book. I think it was written in the 1800s and then revised somewhere around 1930, 40, something like that. But I think it was written in the late 1800s. It's just a good book, you know, of a dog man and people sharing great dogs and good write-ups on the dogs. And he had a good little program for, you know, how to get more muscles and win out of your dogs. Okay. In terms of standing them up for 30 days. It was just some ads in the book. It's just a good book, you know, and I look at some of the old ads of different people. Joe Crovino had an ad in the book, and it's just a good book. Yeah. Wow. And I think my dog agrees with you. She just kind of hopped up and came over and gave you a lick. So I think that's a thumbs up. So guys, guess what? This book is going to be awesome.